stick it in my bag.
Hello! Did that scare everyone? Yeah? Good? Is that okay? Hello everyone and welcome to Question Time 2015. This is your opportunity to quiz the candidates that you're going to elect this year, both on the SAC and the council. Last year I was told that I don't look as dapper as the previous media officer Michael Bailey, so I thought I'd suit up and get things going like that. I think we need to sort out the dress code between me and Gareth for next time. I don't know whether I'll be brought back for this, but so, you know. Anyway, thank you for coming along. As I've expressed to candidates, there's going to be a different layout this year with the process of where we're going. People won't have to make speeches. It's just going to be a relaxed conversation between myself and you guys. We will, after I've questioned you, we'll throw it to the audience, so you can ask your questions here, or for anyone watching on the live stream from PSTV, you can tweet your questions to me at UCLan SU _media. Remember to also follow the debate on Twitter with hashtag UCLan Elections. We're going to kick things off by bringing up the candidates for Activities and Participation Officer. Please can you make your way to the stage? We both have that problem. So just to remind people of the candidates that are running for this position, we've got, in no particular order, Brad Jones, Natasha Ward and Tom Daly. Okay, thanks for coming along, guys and girl. And my first question would be, what would you bring to the role? Firstly, I was actually going to say that, strangely, the names that we've got here today, we've got an Olympic diver, a reserve Liverpool goalkeeper, and I've done a search, and supposedly a director for MTV Music. So, yeah, that's you. Is that actually you? Oh, okay, right, okay. Well, yeah, then, fair enough. That was you I found. Okay. Right. Okay, so firstly, I wanted to ask you, what will you bring to the role? First of all, pick up a microphone. That's what I should have said first of all. One for you and one for you. There we go. Yeah, so first of all, what will you bring to the role? I'll start with you, Natasha.
Firstly, I feel like a lot of candidates for any sort of SAC role will always say, oh, it's all about the students, it's all about what you want, and it's easy to say it, it's not as easy to do it, and I've said that I will regret this, and I know I will. I pledge to try every sport and society activity, and if that means making a film myself, if that means breaking a few bones while I try American football, if that means doing rugby and getting decapitated, then if that's what it takes to get involved with societies and get them to know me as a person, and know that I do want to get involved. I don't just want to sit behind a desk and reply to your emails. So what I think I'll bring is I am going to get involved, and I've made a pledge to do it. I'll regret it, but that's what I will bring to the role.
Okay. Tom?
I suppose experience. I've done something similar to this before, and I feel that because I'm passionate, I'm driven, and if somebody has something, then I'm the person to go sort it out and speak up for other people. Yeah.
Okay, and Brad?
Thank you for the woo, whoever that was. I think if I was to become the APR officer, I'd bring a more fresh look on the freshers side of it, because being chairman of the Poker Society this year, our drive was to bring more freshers into society, and we had 34 members last year, and we have over 100 members this year. So that's the kind of take that I want to bring in, by bringing in more members into societies and clubs. Sorry.
Okay, just going back to what Natasha said, you said you want to be more involved. What do you mean specifically by that?
Like, I know a lot of, like, I've spoken to Josie, and she said that's one of the things she wanted to do, and she just never got round to it, and like, I just want to make sure that's one of my priorities, that I get involved with societies and teams, and being part of a committee. I'm part of a sports team and I'm part of a society, so I'm a bit impartial, like I'm not going to favour one over the other. Setting up a new society, I feel like we should have had more people come and help us and get involved with us and know us as people. While a lot of people know our chair, everyone knows our chair because she's here, there and everywhere. I feel like the rest of the committee and a lot of other societies, like when I've mentioned to people that I'm running for APO, they're like, oh, what's an APO? And it shouldn't be like that. If you're part of a sport, if you're part of society, you should know who we are, because at the end of the day, we're here to help you and represent you as sports and societies and as students. And if you don't know who we are, then we're not really doing our job then, are we?
Okay. You mentioned that you've done a job like this before. What do you mean?
I used to work at a place called Audrey Moore Rec Centre in Northern Virginia, and it was essentially taking what kids, it was on ages 8 to 16 level, and what they wanted to do, and then what parents wanted them to do, and doing it that way. So I want to do it on a bigger level, which would be for UCLan. I've spoken to a number of students from societies, because admittedly I'm from a sports background, but I'm part of a couple of societies. I'm co-chair for a society, so it's a new society, and I see how hard it is to start a society up, because we've only become a society recently, and we've not had the support that we should have had. I don't want that. More people should be involved, which is what we're all here to do, because it's in the name, participation officer. And on top of that, I feel that if we want, other people I've spoken to have said things for societies, like there's room booking issues, there's just like minor issues that it could be better with a bit more training for the committees, for both sports and societies. More training for them to know what exactly they're doing, break it down bit by bit, rather than just go gung-ho. You've seen these things happen before, and they've happened this year.
Okay. Brad, you're saying that you wanted more people in societies. Do you mean sports as well?
Yes, I do. Sorry, I forgot the microphone. Yes, I do mean sports as well. Obviously, as Tom just said, he's from a sports background. I'm also from a societies background. So with sports teams, I know that there is a lot of people that try out. For example, like the football team, you have 5 teams, and if you don't make the 5 teams, then you create your own little team, and then you play sports. With societies, when you join a society, obviously, we don't really judge on level or skill. So, for example, with the poker society, what we tried this year was we said, look, if you don't know how to play poker, we'll teach you. So whether you know how to play the sport or whether you know how to play the game or anything else like that, we want to encourage you to participate, whether you've got a good skill or not.
Okay. I'd throw that kind of question back onto the 3 of you. The responsibility of the Activities and Participation Officer have been, there have been a lot of complaints about the workload of it. Do you think that, well, firstly, what will you do to make sure that all 3 of you can answer all those emails from all people in societies and sports and also get out there and speak to them all the time? But is there anything that you would change about that at all? About the role itself?
About the role itself? Does this include trying to lobby to get another member of staff?
That's...
Yeah, so obviously, since my I'm a 3rd year now, but when I became chairman, we had someone called Vanessa working downstairs in the office, and she was of great help because we wanted updated membership lists to help us find out who signed up and who do we need to encourage more or give more speech to, that kind of thing, to get them to join a society. And she was only here till January, and she did a great job. Like, she helped out Laurie, took a lot of workload off Laurie. So that's the first thing that I would like to do, is try and explore the option of bringing in another permanent staff member for the society side.
From both sides of it, both societies and sports want more money. Everybody wants more money, but sports want it mainly for transport, societies want it mainly for transport and events. I want to completely rebrand Team UCLan from the sports side and from the society side for sponsorship, for instance, instead of going, it's just an example, instead of going to Roper and Adelphi, bypassing them, going straight to Stonegate pubs that own both of them and say, look, I've got access to 2,000 students here from societies, what can you do for me? Because that, if they, let's say they sign a deal for £5,000, because everything, the sponsorship money they give to the clubs, for instance, as wakeboarding might get £75 from Roper and hockey get 100 odd. In the interest of fairness, everyone's got more of a grant pot then, if we have that money, and that still gives the option to go and get their own individual funding. It's the same with societies, which is why I'm all for the YBD ban being lifted. It's another potential source of income for some teams. Everyone complains about the funding. If we're able to create a brand new marketing strategy, because we don't have one, then that will add money to the pot for both grants. If we did 2 separate ones, so let's say, for instance, sports, there's the kits, Surridge, right? Surridge, the kits. That kit deal's up this year. So it's there for the taking, it's there to be taken advantage of and create more money. That money for the sports teams will be able to create transport, pay for transport, because at the moment they're looking at change the way that sports clubs are run. And in the societies, their grant pot's currently £6,000. And so if we were able to get, let's say we did the Stonegate one, for instance, they gave us £5,000, that's £11,000 in their pot straight away, and they're still able to go and get their own opportunities.
Okay. Natasha?
I wouldn't change the role, to be honest. I just think it's a case of people not knowing what the APO is, who the APO is, and that they are here to help you. The APO does have people to help them too. They've got a team, like a council team, who are responsible for dealing with each different sports and societies. Like, I remember one of them was, I can't remember them all off the top of my head, I'm sorry. But I know one of them is the Faith Council, Council Faith, whichever way around it is. So there is people there to help you. You don't have to deal with it all on your own. These people are set to do it. They are there to do their job. And I just feel it's a case of people need to get out there and, well, I need to get out. If I was the APO, I need to get out there. It's not a case of them coming to me because it's not their job. It's my job as an APO to go to sports, to go to societies and say, look, this is who I am. If you need any help, come to me. If I don't reply to your email in 2 days, come and find me. You know where I am. My office will be over there. And will keep in contact with sports. It's not going to be, I'll try it once. I want to be involved. I could not think of a job worse than having to sit behind a desk 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. While I understand that's a big part of the job, I want to be out there and I want to be helping them. I'm an active member of sports and societies, and when I stand still, that's when I go into breakdown mode. If I'm not on the go all the time, doing 7 things at once, I'm not happy. So I want to be involved, and I want to get to know I should know personally every committee member of every sport or society. So no, I don't think the role should change. I just think I need to do more.
Okay. Quite interesting if you'd be sat behind it. Thank you. Quite interesting you'd be sat behind a desk for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That'd be quite interesting. Anyway, as you were mentioning funding there, the three of you, this is the last question, so please keep your answers brief and we'll throw it to the audience. But as mentioned by people before, the grant funding pot for both sports and societies often isn't met, and yet people have complained that they can't go out there and get other funding, but a lot of them don't come in here to the union to ask for more funding and apply in the proper way. What do you think the issue is there, and what do you think you'd change about that to make sure that people understand? Because that's the reason why a lot of the debate that caused a bit of a rift in the YBD debate yesterday. So what do you think change would make? I'll start with Brad on the end.
So, for example, the first thing I would say is better advertising, because we didn't know about the part, and then when I became chairman, I did a bit of research. I found out that there was a part, so we applied to get some poker tables, but we don't know about the part. Like, obviously, you know about it if you ask about it. If you don't know to ask about it, you don't know about it. So it's a catch-22. So there needs to be more advertising about the fact that there's a 6K pot for you to take some money out of.
Okay.
A part of it comes down, I think, to Natasha's point about making sure you're available to everybody, from whether every committee member from both societies and sports. I think the way the grant forms are currently they're too complicated. If you're from a background where you have experience in doing the forms in the current format that they are in, then it's easier and you are liable to get more money, whereas people who've never done it before might not know exactly what to put in, and because of that lose out. So I think the grant forms themselves and the whole format of it does need to change. There are opportunities out there for external funding as well. If American football, they got £10,000 from Sport England, so they went and found it, but I think they need to be encouraged by someone who's in the know, who's got a background and knows what they're doing, and I think obviously that's our role, to do the research for them, or work with, if we're on a sport for instance, the guys from Get Into, or Amanda and Tom in the sports office, because they were the ones who also have contacts. Us coming into this role, we won't have the contacts that certain members of staff here will have. We need to utilise them for both sports and societies to look for opportunities. There are, even if let's say Pole Fitness had a parent who owns their own company, they'd be able to get funding that way. We just need to help people and encourage them to look for more funding themselves. Hence my idea for the marketing strategy.
Okay. And Natasha?
Obviously, in regards to pole fitness, that's something I'm heavily involved in, and when we were setting it up, we were starting from nothing, and we needed money. You can't do pole fitness without a pole. You could try, it'd be really difficult, you'd look a bit like an idiot, probably get sectioned because you'd look insane. But we struggled to get the money, and for me, for pole fitness, the grant, we didn't get it. I'm not sure why. I'm not going to say why, because I don't, to be honest, I don't know. But we didn't get any money. We did be able to lend the money from the student union, but we do have to pay that back, and it's a lot of money. We're talking like thousands of pounds. And I'm not bringing YBD into it because that was yesterday. But we could have had the money from elsewhere, from YBD. So I feel like even though these grants are there, and we knew about it, and not enough people do know about it, that's a given point. So we do need to have more advertising with it, but it needs to be more. I feel like people that do go and ask for the grant, they need to be credited more, because at the end of the day, if you're going to the student union saying this is a society that I want to set up, that's a business idea. We have set up a business. Pole fitness is a business. American football is a business. They've gone and set that up themselves, and people should be credited more for it. And if you go in with a full business plan, it should work like a business. Like, I understand it's hard to get, but at the end of the day, you can't give money away for nothing. So if you do want to set up a sport and society, you need to say why, you need to say what you're going to get from it. And then I think as an APO, I'd have to consider that a bit more than it is and think like, look, they have got really good ideas and this could really work. And with pole fitness, it's something that a lot of unis had, and you can see how well it's going, and think about that in terms of, is this going to work? Has it worked for others? And then go from there.
Okay, thank you. Right, that's all I've got for the candidates. We're now going to throw 2 questions to the audience. Firstly, we'll take Lee. Have you got a microphone for Lee? Yes, please, thank you.
Okay, so you talk about funding opportunities and wanting more funding for sports and societies. My question to you is, do you know that the Students' Union is a charity and that they get the funding from the university, which is a part of a grant, which then gets put towards the trustees of the university, of the Students' Union, who break it down bit by bit? The question that I'm asking is that, how would you ensure that sports and societies get an equal say in that?
Okay, we'll start with Natasha and work
In
your
an
way along.
equal saying where the money's going to be spent.
Yeah, so
Right.
basically, how as an APO would you ensure that societies and sports gets the same or equal amount to help benefit each other?
Right. I think people kind of see sports and societies as 2 separate people in general. And for me, as part of a sport and a society, I don't really see too much difference. And I think they're treated to, obviously I know a lot of people say, oh, this is a sport, this is a society, we are 2 completely different people. And I don't think it should be like that. I think it should be in terms of how many members you've got. If one society's got 5 members, if one's got 80, we need to think about it in terms of numbers, in terms of if they owe money back, how they're going to carry on as a business. And I think for me, I feel that, I probably get shot for saying this, but I feel like big sports are benefiting more than little sports. So you've got your main ones, you've got your football and things like that, and I feel that they're benefiting a lot more than little sports. I think we need to start looking down the ladder at people who don't get as much attention as such, and we need to start looking at them and seeing how we can build them up.
Okay, Tom?
I feel that we currently have committees to decide those things as it is at the moment. The Societies Committee can decide fairly, so it's the students that decide. But my point is everyone wants more money, which is what we're looking for. So to make sure it's spent equally, it all depends on the grant form. Again, it comes back to how the format that it is at the moment is extremely complicated for some people. And that needs to change to give people a fair chance in the first place. Then it goes down to the committees. We have to make sure that the committees are all they're all square. And how it works at the moment, let's say Rugby League has someone on the sports committee. If they're having to look over their grant form, they leave the room. So it is fair. It's always done in a fair way. I think there's just an opportunity there to encourage people to get more money themselves, and we can, as a union, go out as an APO, go out and get the money for a whole new brand, but still encourage them to do the same themselves for both sports and societies. There's possibilities are pretty limitless at the moment. Sorry?
Sorry, one second. Just, right. Brad, have your answer.
What did she say?
Ignore. Have your answer.
Okay. What was the question again?
No, that's not her question.
Yeah, no, but what was
You
Lee's
answer.
question again, sorry?
Lee's question was about the UCLan SU as a charity, and to make sure that sports and societies will equally get those funding for each side.
Okay. Well, it's evident that some clubs and societies have different expenditure and income, so that's one thing to take into consideration. I know that's not like the answer that you're expecting, but it is one thing that you need to take into consideration. So, for example, as said earlier, like Pole will put in like a grant form to try and get so much for polls, whereas societies such as like Board and Card Game Society will put in a smaller amount request to get more forms. So we do have a committee that look at it and see whether, we do have a committee that looks at it and sees where the money should go. But I feel that there should be more, as I said, advertising about that there is money and everything else like that. I will probably say that I don't know much about this information at the moment, but in due time I'll do more research to give a better and clearer answer.
Okay. We've got to wrap up with that. Unfortunately, we've not got time for another question. We're going to have to move on to our next candidate. But thanks very much to Brad Jones, Tom Daly, and Natasha Ward. Okay. Now please have up the candidates for Women's Rep and Council Chair. Strange combination, but it works, trust me. It's timing. Do you want to swap just so that you know who's who? Okay, just so you each have a microphone, yeah? Cool. Okay. Okay, right, just to announce the candidates that are running for these positions. For Council Chair, we've got Tᴡɪᴛᴛᴇʀ. For Women's Rep, we have Alice Hudson, Chloe Knowles, Molly Elise Littlemore, Molly Cronshaw, and Leanne Dean. Okay. Okay. Please, can you say your name and just to let the audience know what your name is and what position you're running for? Yeah, from this side. Okay.
Molly Elise from Women's Rep.
Chloe Knowles for Women's Rep.
Leanne Dean for Women's Rep.
Tᴡɪᴛᴛᴇʀ for Council Chair.
Okay. Okay. My question is kind of to all of you. Why do you think people should vote for you? For what particular reason? I'll start from this side.
Basically, I just think that I'm good.
Okay, should we pass it on to the next person? Chloe, do you want to answer first?
Can you hear me? I feel like people should vote for me as Women's Rep because I've been heavily involved in the feminist society since my first year, and I feel like I just want to include all types of women in the Women's Rep position kind of thing, and I just want to be a really easy person that people know that they can come to if they want something to be acted on, and I like to think I can provide that for people, hopefully.
Okay. Are we ready to come back to you, Molly? Yeah, cool.
I want to make it diverse, and I've previously organised the Clothes Are Not Consent March, which obviously is for equal rights for women and like encourage diversity, and I've got a lot of good connections. Like I've organised a project against domestic violence towards women for this week. There's a stall on Tuesday. I'm in touch with Lifeline in Manchester about drugs, and I just want to raise a lot of money in more different ways. And at the moment, we've been doing a lot of bake sales in the Femme Society, and I just think we've been fighting to get out of the kitchen for a long period of time. So I think that we should stop getting voluntarily back in it and do something different.
Okay. And just to say, there is usually a bake sale in here every single day, regardless of what group. But yeah.
I am doing one next week. But there is men selling the cakes.
Okay, right. Leanne.
I would say one of the main reasons that you should vote for me for Women's Rep is because of how passionate I am about the issues relating to the role. I've seen so many, particularly women students, suffer so many different issues that they've got no idea who to go to about it, who they can talk to about it, and it's ended up in them having sort of mental problems, self-harming, dropping out of uni, and basically some of their future opportunities are suffering because of things that they've, like issues that they have at the moment that they don't know who to go to help for. So I want to be a person who can represent the different charities, the different places, the different people that within the uni and within society that these women can go to for help so that their future opportunities aren't ruined by things that they can get help for now.
Okay. I've got a slightly separate question for you, Sana. You're the only person from all of council who's rerunning for a position. Why should people re-elect you? What have you done this year and what will you change next year?
Okay, anyone who's met me knows I work really hard. I've been involved with the student union for just about a year, and so far I've changed a lot of things. So putting forward campaigns for things like quiet rooms, quiet spaces for students to use for prayer, reflection, or for just that space that you need in the day. I've also encouraged a lot more of diversity in the student union, so we've had things like freshers. We had our very first halal welcome dinner. What else have I done? I think I've encouraged a lot of other people to run as well. I can see some people nodding. So yeah, I think I just want to reform council. I've been involved for a year, and stop it. I've been involved for a year, and I can see the problems that it's facing, and I want to have a fresh start and a new change in the way that we change policy. I know we've had a lot of active people that have got really passionate in different policies, and I can see a lot of them are running for SAC positions. So we look forward to having them on council next year too, hopefully. But yeah, in terms of what I've done in the year, it's support people. It's not massive things where you go and shout about it. It's just the little things where, you know, talking to certain positions in the rep, making sure that they're happy with the campaigns they're running and they feel that their voices are heard in council.
Okay. I'm going to throw it out to the audience now. Has anyone got any particular questions for the candidates?
So this is questions to the women's reps. And I've heard the word intersectionality being thrown around a lot.
Can you repeat that again?
Intersectionality.
Intersectionality.
Which means including, because, you know, it's great to talk about feminism and representing women, but which women are you representing? And I feel like it's great to say I'm here for all women, but what have you actually done for BME women? You know, what experiences have you come? I know Chloe has, you know, specifically mentioned she wants to engage with BME women and Muslim women, and I just don't think BME women, we should not just be an election point in your campaign. You know, can you expand on what it is exactly you hope to do, or how you hope to engage with us?
So the question is what you want to do for intersectionality, is that right?
That's a difficult word, but to understand exactly. But basically, how are you going to include all women, especially
women from different minorities and
there you
ethnicities, etc. Okay, sure. We'll start with this idea.
Yeah. To start off, I wanted to look at recently there was some women in China that got arrested for demonstrating an National Women's Day, and I wanted to do something about that. So that's obviously an ethnic minority there, and I've been in contact with Julie Ward, the MEP, who does a lot of work about genital mutilation, and I've discussed working the Feminist Society, working with her about that. I don't remember what time. Yeah.
Okay. Chloe?
Well, I study religion, so it isn't, that can relate to BME as well, because I want to do stuff with like the multi-faith centre and stuff. But I know that as a white woman, like, I don't suffer the same kind of inequalities as a black woman or another ethnic minority might suffer. So I want them to come to me and be able to comfortably tell me what they suffer throughout the university, because I can only imagine, like I said, like, I'm just a white woman suffering from white sexism kind of thing. And this probably sounds really stupid, but a black woman suffers like completely different sexism, same as a Muslim woman, like all this kind of stuff. So I just want them to come to me and tell me, rather than me thinking like, oh, they probably suffer this, so I'm going to go run away with that idea without talking to them. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah?
I think there's a number of different ways that any of us who get voted as women's rep could get involved in that sort of area. One thing that I am quite passionate about, and I have spoke to a lot of people about, is the fact that in Brazil it is currently illegal for a woman to have a termination. That is a big issue for me, because I believe that it's a woman's own right for her own body. I believe that if a woman is raped, or if anything happens to her where unfortunately she becomes pregnant and she doesn't want a baby, there's no way of her being able to get rid of the baby legally and safely. That is one thing that I'm quite passionate about. Another thing that I've sort of spoke to people about around the uni over the last couple of days while starting my campaign is people who have converted into a religion from being atheists, and they've noticed a lot of people treating them differently, their families, their friends, people who teach them, their course friends, treating them differently. And I would love for our counselling service to be able to offer something like that, and I would love to work with our new international rep in September to sort of handle this issue and be able to maybe have some sort of person in our counselling service that they can go to who can specialise in that sort of area for them.
Okay, fair enough. Have we got a question for Council Chair? Okay, yeah, we have one down the front. Down here. Down this side. Run. There we go. Cheers.
Sana, what do you think about the current policies on Quora, and do you think that it should, in fact, incorporate new technologies such as Skype so that people in Burnley or council members that aren't able to make council meetings can actually vote in a room that's designated to council whilst these meetings are going on?
Good question. We've had a lot of discussion in recent council meetings to do with this. So just for anyone that doesn't know, Quora is in council, you have to have a certain amount of council members present for any policies to be passed. It's been quite difficult recently because we have such a massive council, you have to have, half plus one members present, and it's been hard to get all those people in the same times and things like that, and it has been an issue running throughout the whole of council this year. So one of the things I want to try and implement is things like Skype, things like voter proxy, looking at the bylaws and the motions and seeing how we can make it more appealing for students, because at the end of the day, most of us are on full-time education. We don't have a lot of time to spare for these kind of voluntary positions. We're not in a full-time occupation at the student union, and it should be made more flexible for us so that we can partake in student voice. So yeah, that's my stance on it. I think we should improve using technology and maybe try and look at Quora and look at which, we're going to have a reform of council anyway, but looking at which roles are needed on council and what we want to represent. Do we want X amount of student union school presidents, or do we want representatives from different societies and different clubs and different teams to be sat on council?
Okay, thanks very much, Sana. Okay, thank you very much to all the candidates. We're now going to move on to the next position. Thank you very much. Just a reminder of the people running for those two positions. Sana Iqbal is running for Council Chair against reopen nominations. For Women's Rep, we have Alice Hudson, Chloe Knowles, Molly Elise Littlemore, Molly Cronshaw and Leanne Dean, and of course reopen nominations as well. Okay. Can I now call up the people who will be taking over my role next year? Media Officer. Okay, just to remind people of the people running for this particular position, we have Hannah Mason and Jess Hobley. Okay, now because this is a position that I'm obviously going to be stepping down from, sad isn't it? I know, don't worry, it's all right. This time it won't be a behind that people will be missing. But yeah, so tell me how great I've been this year, go on. No, how do you plan on... How do you plan on... Do you plan on changing anything about student media next year? And if so, what do you plan on changing? I'll start with Jess on the end and move to Hannah.
I don't plan on changing a lot of it. I think what you did was actually a step that we needed to take, and to advertising more about the student media and people realising who we actually are. But then I would just take that a step further through the next year, because 1 year to make a change just isn't enough.
Okay, Hannah?
Yeah, I'd agree. I wouldn't say that we need anything particularly dramatic change. I think it's kind of expanding on where you would leave. So for example, I think all 3 platforms have been built up this year, and it's just a case of building them up even more over the next year. but maybe making them work more together as one and unite rather than being 3 separate platforms, because as much as the 3 have been great individually, I think a lot can be done for them to work together and cross over on projects, such as big news stories and like events like this as well. Like we've got PSTV filming, but why not have, hi at the back, why not have all 3 here together working on the same thing? Yeah, I know Pluto are here because Isaac's over there as well. But obviously, instead of working in the 3 separate offices on the same thing, why not all be in the same office at the same time, swapping footage and working together to make it a lot bigger?
Okay, fair enough. So the 2 of you come from, I'm right in thinking, TV production and film production.
I'm not TV.
Sorry.
Media production and
Media
technology.
production, technology, and
Film production and film and media.
Okay. And so neither of you come from, myself, I'm from a journalism background, and Michael Bailey was from a sports journalism background. What do you think that you can bring to the table for the likes of Pluto? I mean, yes, you don't have to have someone there with that background. What do you think you'll make up for that in not knowing? Do you know how to run a newspaper, etc.? What can you bring to that side of things?
Not me. Oh.
You start with Hannah actually this time.
Well, I studied English language and literature right up until A-level, as well as doing screenwriting within my first year. And throughout the last 3 years of my courses, I have been a writer and written films, songs, anything. That's kind of kept me creatively writing. But obviously I know a lot of the volunteers are journalism students as well, so I'll be able to learn as much from them as they would from me. So I have got a kind of writing background, as well as I've done work experience with newspapers. Well, it was more back home, back in college. I worked with the local Liverpool Press, with the editor for a few days. So I kind of got to learn a lot from him. But obviously I can learn a lot from what you've done this year, as well as learning from the volunteers.
Okay. Right, I'm going to throw it out to the audience now. What particularly... Oh, sorry, I forgot.
Okay.
I forgot to go to that side. Sorry, Jess, go ahead.
I did page layout and design last year, so I know how everything could be laid out and what works best as a layout. So being able to read the newspaper will actually be looking good as well. I don't do a lot of journalism in my course, but I would work for IRsᴛSoლიʀᴏ on a Friday, and my boss is actually a journalist who did his master's in journalism, so I've learned a lot through him and what he's done to get in the industry, which I could pass along to those journalists in Pluto who want to take that step. So everything that's been learned from today and in the past about Pluto and how it's changed this year.
Okay. I'm going to throw things to the audience. Jade?
My question is, when Matt stood for media officer, he promised us a media app. What do you want to promise us that you will not deliver on? Thank you very much.
Oh, it will. I'd love to see the day when you come in my office and tell me that you read Pluto. Really. Anyway, okay, right. So, what do you two promise that you will not commit to?
Well, I remember that question about the app because last year I ran for the same position as Matt, so I was stood on that stage. I remember trying to answer it then as well. And hopefully, I'm not going to promise anything that I won't be able to commit to. I know that. Obviously, Matt's been really busy this year with NASTA and things like that, and an app I don't think would have been the best thing for someone who's doing it for a year to take on. I think we need to build up the 3 platforms a lot more for them to invest in an app. So if people are aware of the 3 platforms, they'll be able to get the app, and then obviously they can get everything. Which hopefully, if I did this for a year, I'd then put plans in place for the future. But I don't want to promise anything that I'm not going to do. So I'm going to promise realistic things like getting more volunteers involved, branching it out maybe to people like the business school and computing school, so you can do things like the website and PR and marketing, getting more awareness. If I have to run around campus in Preston's famous rain, handing out leaflets, talking to students, telling them to listen, read and watch, that is what I will do. I'm not really, it's about getting people aware, and that's all I want. Because the more people are aware, the bigger that we can be, and the more successful that we can be, and we can just take off from where Matt's built it up over the last year anyway.
Okay. Jess?
I would agree, in a year, making an app would have been probably, with NASTA as well, we're hosting it as PSTV, so it would be a lot of too much work for people not knowing who we are, because if you Google some places like Plo, PSTV, we're not actually top of the list, we're kind of a bit further down, so moving us up further would then get more notice and stuff. But again, I'm the same as Hannah, I'm not going to promise things that I won't deliver. I'll at least try and deliver, like set a plan up. But yeah, like expand into courses, like I know we already have a web student building a website for PSTV, so we've already kind of half expanded out there, but it's taking that step further in this year.
Okay. Take one final question from the audience. We'll take this one here.
Hello. Just a quick question, really. What past experience have you both had in the union specifically that prepare you for the role as media officer?
Okay. My first year I didn't really get involved because I wasn't really sure how to. But I have been course rep for all 3 years, so I kind of know a bit of gathering information and distributing it out, so it's a bit of leadership as well, which I have to observe over frequency in PSTV, so that I help them out with guidance as well. And being for like a full-time part of PSTV for a whole year, I've kind of seen what's on the inside as well as what's on the outside, so I can, and being part of Pluto as a graphic designer, knowing how they work as well. So I've seen on the inside, and I know a bit of leadership as well, so I think that would help a lot.
Okay.
Well, I pretty much live in this building, like most of you know. So I've got the Opportunity Centre, Coach Finder, but I've done, obviously the last year I got a lot more involved with student media, because this time last year I was stood on this stage trying not to throw up and cry. So ever since then I've got a lot more involved. I work with Matt with frequency. Most of you now I recognise anyway, and I can probably name you by like your first name. And it's just a lot of different things, like head of music at frequency, it's been great as well. I've had a radio show. I've made sure every month to pick up the copy of Pluto. I've watched things that PSTV have done, so it's just a case of, well, like, what haven't I kind of done? I like to get involved, and I ended up being school president as well because I got talked into that. So I just tried to get involved with as many different things with the union, anything from freshers team to literally sitting behind the front desk. But obviously I've got to know a lot of people, and I think it's kind of helped with the support as well, which I'd like to thank you all for now, because I don't think I'd be sat here without you all anyway, so thank you.
Okay, thanks very much for the 2 candidates standing for media officer. Give them a round of applause.
Might as well. Well, while you're on stage, might as well both as media volunteers say a quick well done to you over the last year. And that lovely dapper suit you've got going on there as well. Not quite Bailey, but you're nearly there.
Cheers, thank you. Okay, just to remind you, the 2 candidates running for that is Hannah Mason and Jess Hobley, and reopen nominations as well. Okay, can we now have up the candidates standing for LGBT rep, postgrad rep, and disability rep, please? What? So just remind the LGBT rep, postgrad rep, and disability rep. We're also going to have the BME rep, but we need we're going to have a statement from the candidate, read on the behalf of the candidate as they're unable to attend. Yeah, sorry, I didn't read it out because I thought, okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. Firstly, we'll have a statement read out on behalf of the BME rep, Renee Robert Sinclair.
I send my apologies. I am currently in London visiting family, and here is my statement. My name is Renee, and I'm in a second-year neuroscience student who is running for BME rep. What will I provide as the BME representative? Promotion of the BME rep role, a safe space to voice issues and/or concerns, inclusion, BME-specific fundraisers, and tackling socio-cultural issues. The main theme of my campaign is education. Through fun and interactive multicultural events, I hope to educate students of all backgrounds about ethnic minorities and promote self-education of BME students. Finally, we were here yesterday, we are here today, and we will be here tomorrow. So vote for progress, vote today, and vote for Renee. Thank you.
Okay. Just say you can't vote today, you have to vote next week, but yeah. Okay. Just to remind people of the candidates standing for these positions, for LGBT rep, we've got David McIntyre and reopen nominations. For BME rep, we've got Renee Robertson-Clare and reopen nominations. For postgrad rep, I'm going to try and get this right. Tᴡɪᴛᴛᴇʀ Douglas. Nod or shake heads. I'm just going to, yeah, okay. And disability rep, Tasneem Fahid. And reopen nominations. Okay, so please can you let the audience know what your name is and what position you're running for?
So I'm Dave McIntyre and I'm standing for LGBT rep.
My name is Taz and I'm running for disability rep.
Okay, sorry, can you just both say that again, just because I don't think it was loud enough. Just bring your microphone just closer to you. Cheers.
Okay, I'm David and I'm standing for LGBT rep.
Okay.
And I'm Taz, I'm running for disability rep.
Okay, awesome. Another round of applause. So, why should people vote for you? Either of you first?
Because I want to change a lot of stuff to make life easier for disabled students.
Okay, can you be more specific about what you want to change?
Well, from my experience, there's like a lot of stuff that are kind of like swept underneath the carpet kind of thing. And like, I don't think a lot of people know where to go, like when there are issues, like they just kind of go to disability advisor and then that's it, but they're staff, so they can't really do much for you. Whereas if you're the actual rep, you can actually go and make things change.
Okay. David, why should people vote for you?
Purely because I've kind of got experience in kind of representing people, a lot like many of the other candidates. But also as well, you know, I've got some really good innovative and creative ideas and kind of a fresh face for this kind of role that I can actually make something of this role. So that's why.
Okay. I'm going to open up questions to the audience. Has anyone got a question for either of the people standing for these roles? Right, we'll have a question in the middle there. And then we'll come to you afterwards. Just a reminder, if you want to send a question to me, it's at UCLan SU _media on Twitter. Remember to join in the debate at #UCLan Elections. And hello to everyone watching on PSTV as well. And following the Pluto and Frequency Twitter accounts. Okay, question.
This is a question for both candidates. What experience have you got with the student union so far? How have you been involved? And yeah, what can you say you've done this year?
I'm the head sister of the Islamic Society, so I've kind of lived here as well, doing events and everything. I'm also part of the school's project thing. I ran a dyslexia awareness week in November to raise more awareness about dyslexia and about more support and stuff. What was the question again? All right, okay.
Okay, David?
In terms of kind of the student union, not that much. I've kind of thrown myself in the deep end with standing for election. But kind of since coming to university, you know, I'm a student ambassador, so I've worked heavily in that kind of role. So that's kind of what I've done so far since coming to uni.
Okay, we've got another question from down here.
Hi, this is a question for both of you as well. If you do get elected, what will be your #1 priority?
Okay.
I would say international students, they don't have any, when they come here, they don't have any support like people who are from England and stuff. They have the DSA, whereas international students don't have anything. So I want to make sure there's something done for that.
I think mine would be engagement. I know a lot of people in these kind of roles would say engagement is their key priority, but I think in the past there's not been a kind of want or a need of engagement. And I think that'd be my #1 priority is actually, you know, getting people to have that want to engage with this student union and so yeah.
Okay, have we got any more questions? Okay, take one from down here.
Hi, this is one for the disability rep candidate. Obviously, Disability Awareness Week has just gone. I wanted to know if you had any involvement in that and what would you like to build on next year with regards to disability awareness?
Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get involved with this Disability Week because I had personal stuff going on. But what was it?
What would you like to build on, such as will you do anything for invisible illnesses? Is there anything that you've heard from the event? Have you spoken to the disability officer? What do you think could be done next year to improve this event?
Well, basically, I know there's a lot of students who have a lot of issues and stuff, but they don't really have the opportunity to express it. So making the most of like the forums as well. And a lot of the time when I go, it's empty, like there's no one there and stuff, because it's like a meeting. But if it's like a social thing, then there's more likely for people to attend and stuff, which is more comfortable for them to express views and stuff. And also, I want to set up like anonymous consultation stuff, so if they have any issues and don't want to talk to me, they can also put it in there and get that represented as well.
Okay. We've just got about time for a quick question for if anyone's got something to direct to the LGBT rep. No? Okay. Right, well, we'll move along. Thank you very much for the two candidates that have come out to speak tonight. Just to remind you of the candidates standing for these positions: David McIntyre, and reopen nominations for LGBT rep. For Black and Minority Ethnic rep, Renee Roberts-Sinclair, and reopen nominations. For Postgrad rep, I'm not going to try and pronounce this, I'm just going to go for it, Ilyana Hursky-Douglas, and reopen nominations. And for Disability rep, Tasneem Vahid, and reopen nominations as well. Okay, can I please now have the candidates for Education Officer up on stage? Okay, one microphone between the two of you, please. Okay, just to remind everyone of the candidates running for these positions, all 50,000 of them. Abby Bartlett, Adrian Jaskowski, Amy Woodings, Julia Kanigiani. I really should have worked on these names. Luke James Binns, Neichi Danzin, and Tasmia Salim. Okay. I think I got those right. Not real enough confidence in saying that it's definitely right. Okay. Can you please read out your name, and obviously you're running for Education Officer. So we'll start from here.
Hi, I'm Julia Kanigiani, and obviously I'm running for Education.
I'm Abby Bartlett, and yeah, obviously I'm running for Education.
Don't need to say you're running for Education. Okay.
I'm Tasmia Salim, and I'm obviously running for Education Officer.
Like my fellow students, my name's Amy Woodings, and I'm also running for Education Officer.
My name's Luke James Binns, I'm running for Education Officer.
My name is Nichi. I'm running for the Education Officer.
Okay, no worries. Yeah, just remember to try and share the microphone out between everyone. Okay, my first question for you all is what experience can you bring to the role of Education Officer? We'll start from this side and work our way forward.
Currently, I'm involved in the Green Letter project, and then I'm also helping my friends explaining about their learning supports, and so that they will understand how to apply the assignments and how to do it. So that I'm very interested in the education supports. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to be honest, I have never been involved with UCLan SU. But when I saw that the elections were open, I thought I'd just jump in at the deep end. So yeah, that's why I'm running. I thought education is a role that I'd be best suited to. So I just jumped straight in at the deep end and nominated myself for SAC.
Okay. So sorry, just the question was what experience can you bring to the role?
Well, as I said, I haven't got any experience within the SU, but I believe that I would be best suited for education. I believe that there's a lot of issues surrounding, such as course reps and international student fees, and I've got ideas to make quite big changes to these, which are present to all people sitting in this room right now.
Okay.
I've worked for the Student Union for the past 2 years. I've worked on their school cum college reports project, which meant that in the past 2 years I must have interacted with thousands upon thousands of students to get feedback from them about issues that pertain to their academic experience. And from that I've then read all of their feedback comments, and I've just analysed them and found running themes throughout the university that I now am in a position where I can directly work with the themes that issues of students have raised over the past 2 years.
Okay.
I've also worked within the SU, both as a paid role and voluntary. I was the BME rep in second year, and this involved consulting students and finding out their needs and their concerns. And in particular, I've been involved in the BME attainment gap that's currently present in our university. And I've also been to National Black Students Conference and Women's Conference. So I'm quite familiar with representing students both on a local level at council and nationally. So I think that does give me a lot of experience. I would say I'm aware I've not been a course rep or a school president, but I do have a lot of experience working with deliberation and making sure the voices that really need to be heard do get heard. So yeah.
Okay.
I've been a course rep for 2 years. I've been school president for my final year, and I've also been an active member of council. I sat on the course rep conference. I sat on the panel alongside Stevie and Jerry Kelleher, and I stood up for students because I'm all about fighting for students, whether I am outspoken and whether I am fighting against the top person. I will do it because student rights are so important, and I think I've shown that I've done that. I fought for students when they changed our courses. I fought for tutors when they were getting rid of them, basically, and I'm always standing for students. But you'll probably see me in Essentials selling you shopping as well. Hey.
Okay. Right, Julia.
I've actually had quite a wealth of experience when it comes to representing students. I've been course rep since I actually got here. I've been student ambassador since I got here. I've been an active school president, a member of council. I've sat on the college boards. And on top of that, I have been on Freshers team. A lot of you will have seen me on your first day because I was here welcoming you. Last week, a lot of you will have seen me around because I do believe in all students matter. Everyone deserves equal opportunities. And I did a lot for invisible illnesses. A lot of you may have heard about my campaign, Walk Around the Shoes Of, which was the OCD challenge. And I was massively involved with the Disability Awareness Week itself. I was a guest speaker on one of the days too. So yeah, I'm really used to just getting out there, representing. And like Amy, I have worked on the School Reports project in my second year, which means that I did come into contact with a lot of students. I was handling their feedback directly and writing up the reports too.
Okay. We'll work our way back down the line with. Try and keep answers quite brief, just because we've got the same time limit for everyone and more candidates for this one. But yeah, what are your top 3 priorities that you've got coming into if you were elected?
If I was elected, like I said, one of my massive things is that all students matter. I want to work directly with council members, especially people like the disability rep, because if it affects someone's performance, then it affects their education, and I'm very passionate about getting students' voices heard. I believe that we need to enhance the role of the course rep, enhance their training, because I think course reps should be directly involved in going out and getting involved in the goaling, goating exercises, campaigns, etc. And I believe that there needs to be a representative accountability implemented, whereby we can celebrate the achievements of representatives, support them in their roles if they're not quite doing enough, and if there is a college representative, we need to discuss whether that should be paid, whether commuting students are actually, whether it would benefit them to be paid or not. These things all need to be taken into consideration to make sure that all students are equally represented.
Okay. Abby?
So my key themes are inclusivity, communication. So everything that I'm going to focus on, such as feedback, I've got some absolutely amazing ideas which I will release in my manifesto that brings all of that in, and it will help with the BME gap, it will help with the disabled students. This feedback idea is completely new and innovative, and yeah, you need to read my manifesto, I think. I don't have enough time to tell you everything that I want to do, but I'm going to get you the best education for your £9,000.
Hi, my 3 priorities are, first of all, accessibility. I know education, I fundamentally believe education should be free, but if not, we should make it as accessible to students as possible. So ensuring, lobbying the university for more bursaries or living grants, and making these more accessible to all students, not just a particular few. Also, regulating the disability provision, because I've been to the Disability Forum and I'm aware that some schools are really great models and other schools are not doing what they should, and really we need to pull them up on that, particularly the law school. Also, I think widening participation, so Preston is quite a deprived area in that some students will never access the university, so I do think we need to outreach into the community. Also, the attainment gap. I've been actively involved since I was BME rep in working with Ibrahim Adia, who's part of the university working group for the attainment gap, but I do think the SU, it's high time the SU got on this, because there's no reason why white students at UCLan should have twice a chance of graduating with a first compared to the BME students. It's not to do with BME students' intellectual abilities, it's the institution. We do need to acknowledge what's going on there, along with any possible attainment gaps between international students and home students and disabled students and able-bodied students. And finally, accountability. Our feedback systems, especially like in a school of pharmacy, feedback needs to be prompt, and it needs to be useful and constructive so students can build on their previous performance. We need to have structures where it's clear where students can input and create new ideas. If they want to see something different in their course, they need to know how to be able to go about doing that. And
I think we have to move it along to the next candidate. Okay. Just a reminder, can I have everyone just, unless you're a candidate on the stage, just to be a bit respectful of them. Okay, this is their chance. You've had yours, and you have a chance to answer your questions. Just be a bit quiet. Cheers. Great. Cool. Next.
So there's a number of things I want to work on in terms of enhancing your educational experience. But one of my main priorities is ensuring that the university embraces diversity in all its forms. So whether that's you're a commuting student, whether you're a mature student, whether you're a student that has disabilities, whether you're a BME, regardless of the diversity of students that we have here at UCLan, we want to tailor their educational experience to make sure it's the best they can be. Because just taking mature students, for example, they start at 21 and go through to people that are in their 50s and 60s. Their educational needs will not be the same as somebody in their 40s and 50s, and you need to work with those on different age ranges and make sure that we can tailor everything so they get the best education support in that they get. I know time and time again, people come up here and they say they're going to be visible on campus. I'm going to make sure I dedicate at least 3 hours in my schedule every week to go and speak to you, whether it's having your lunch at Harrington or having a drinking source, to come down. Even if I don't know you, come down, introduce myself and make sure everything's happy, whether you're happy with your educational experience and whether there's anything I could do in my ethnicity to help improve that. And the third thing that I've realised, especially from school reports and listening to student feedback, is there are serious issues with feedback. A lot of students are saying that there are certain deadlines that are not being met. I want to work with the university on their feedback policy and ensure that not only is it delivered back in a timely manner, but it's also delivered with quality, and that it's not just specific to a certain assignment, that it's actually giving you working targets so that you can progress into your next assignment and into your next year and ultimately to the end of your degree.
Okay.
Picking 3 main priorities is difficult because I think all of the policies I've raised are important, but if I have to pick 3, I would say that continuity is the first main priority, ensuring that the student submission that was made by the Education Officer last year are being met. Because obviously if there's no continuity, then it raises big issues. Second of all, course reps. Course reps have been improved massively over the last year, but there are still issues which are really prominent within the schools. I've spoken to a number of course reps who believe they're not being listened to, and I think that's because it's an issue of transparency. We need to see how courses and course leaders are responding to the issues raised by course reps. And third of all, I think that international student fees should be fixed Each year the international student fees go up, which causes uncertainty for international students, which is completely unfair. They should have the same fees throughout the whole period of study, so they have one less thing to worry about. They're already coming from a whole different country. That must be nerve-wracking enough rather than worrying about money throughout your education. And that's what my main three priorities are.
Okay.
I want to focus on the career-related training program to provide to every students. Because recently I discussed with my classmate, we all worry about after we graduate what we are going to do without the training and without the working experience. And then nowadays a lot of employer demands are very high, and then we don't have any training. That's why I want to focus on the career-related training program, maybe every month or every 2 months, 3 months time, so that I will make sure all the trainings will give a notice to the respective students from respective schools. For example, the business school students, they may need a training for the related fees, so that I will make sure to bring up the career-related trainings program.
Okay. Right, we're now going to open up to the audience for a couple of questions. These will be very brief, so give brief answers for each one. Okay. Firstly, we'll have this one over here. Okay.
Hi. Have you got any ideas or campaigns to do with students who don't know what they want to do with their degree when they leave university?
Okay. We'll start from this end with Julia.
So do you mean if we've got any campaigns planned?
Any ideas or anything like that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there needs to be more subject-specific careers days organised within my school itself. I did talk about doing course-specific ones, because anyone who knows Solace knows that it is divided massively into two halves, the languages side and the English side. So I think it's important that we've got a great space here at the atrium, we've got great spaces up at 53 degrees and around the university. We need potential employers coming in, talking to us. We need more guest speakers, and we definitely need more orientation towards people who, just to give them an idea what we can do with our degrees. And it may not be as straightforward as, oh, you do English, you can teach. People need to be inspired.
Okay.
Yes, so one of my main policies is like a networking policy, and I know that some schools are really, really good at it and some schools not so much. So what I'm planning on doing is using the course rep structure and the school president structure that we already have, that has created and put on these events in these schools that are really successful, and creating networking events. So I do know that law has a networking event, my school, education social science, has a networking event, which I've put a lot of time into, and if I do become education officer, I want this model rolled out to every school, so we do have school-specific and course-specific networking events where students can then go and speak to future employers and say, yeah, actually this is what I want to do with my career.
Okay.
I think alumni can be particularly I'm in the school of psychology. We have a lot of alumni that come in, especially successful alumni, because it just gives you, and from very different backgrounds, it just gives you an idea of what a student just like you went through, the process they went through, entering several different fields. And I think we do, like the others have mentioned, we do really need to have school-specific career fairs, like the law one, which was really successful. This week, was it? Or last week, and yeah, I think just meet at least having the opportunity to meet a variety of employers, just to know what's out there, and have those contacts, even if you're not completely set on you knowing what you're going to do right now. Yeah.
Okay, Amy.
Now, see, for me, it's all about experience. I fully believe that, courses such as nursing or events management or fashion promotion, all courses should be open to have some form of industry experience while they're doing their degree, whether that be in the form of placement, whether it be holding networking events to meet potential employers and to get a better feel for the job in the industry they potentially want to go into, or whether it even be, say, guest speakers coming in, or volunteering placements, or whether it even be trips abroad. A whole different diverse range of extracurricular and employable opportunities. Even the promotion of such courses like I did myself, I did Future Leaders, which helped me build leadership skills that I could then apply to a multitude. I didn't necessarily have to follow what career path my degree may give me. It's very transferable skills, and I think doing events as well to hold and improve them to then be relevant to every course of action or industry you may want to go into.
Yeah, well, this has already been mentioned by everybody else. I'm part of a law school, and I'm very lucky that the law school organises networking events. We had one just Wednesday, just gone. But aside from networking, I believe that we need an improved careers service. We have a central careers service in Foster, I believe, in the Foster building. But I think that each individual school should have a dedicated careers service with experts from the field within that school who can help the students who are studying the specific degrees with their career queries, and if they don't know what they want to do with their degree, then the dedicated career service within each school could help with that. And that's one step towards the improvement. That's what the question just asked.
Okay.
From my point of view, every student using the Blackboard, right? So that whatever training available, I want to put it on the Blackboard so that people will every day checking their timetable, they will know that this kind of training program will be coming soon, so that they can register straightly. So that we can engage with those kind of training program, and the respected students, whoever interested in to take up the trainings.
Okay. We've not got time for any more questions, unfortunately, but I'd like to thank all the education candidates, and especially those that have come along today. Thank you. So just a reminder of those running for this position, we've got Abby Bartlett, Adrian Jaskowski, Amy Woodings, Julia Canigiani, Luke James Binns, Neichi Danzin, Tasmia Salem. Okay. We're now going to have up the international rep and Enviro reps. Please, thank you. I'm glad we've kept to the no pets on stage rule. Okay. Just a reminder of the people running for these positions. Okay, we've got Naomi McClellan-Edwards and Samuel Johnson, and reopen nominations running for environment rep. For international rep, we've got Zainab Bashir Al-Rafai. We've got Abdul Hamid Inusa, Harshada Patil, Shafak Masood, and Priscilla Sarmento. Okay, can you just state your name and the position you're running for, and we'll move across from this side to this side.
Hi, I'm Harshada Patil. I'm running for international representative position.
Hi, I'm Zainab. I'm running for international rep.
I'm Shafak. I'm running for international rep.
I'm Sam. I'm running for ethics and environment rep.
I'm Naomi, and I'm running for environment and ethics rep.
Okay, right. I have a question which kind of addresses all of you. Both your positions are contested. Why are you the better candidate to vote for? We'll start from that side with Naomi.
I have been involved with the Students' Union for a while now, and I have got more involved with the green side of stuff. I recently ran a soup kitchen that proved that you could use sustainable packaging while running a business. And from that, I'm not sure if it was directly from that, but the atrium now uses sustainable dinnerware and packaging and everything. I also have run a few societies, been course rep and everything, so I've been quite involved, and I think I could bring a lot to this role.
Well, it's a pretty horrible question, but I think that I've been involved with the Students' Union. I'm only a first year, but I've been involved from the start almost. I got involved being a course rep. I currently work for the Green Ladder team, but I think it's about I've created quite some creative
policies like creating a microbrewery within the Students' Union. So it's something new, something engaging for students to get involved with, and I think that's the way to move forward in the Students' Union.
Okay, I'm an international student myself, so I kind of know the ins and outs and the kind of struggles that international students face when they come to UCLan. So I think I can, from my own experiences, I can come and bring that to the team. On top of that, I have a lot of things that I can change. So I think, so I think I might be a good candidate.
As an international student myself, I've been an international student for years because I was previously in another country. So I kind of know how it feels like to come to a completely different environment, and I kind of know how it feels like to learn to adapt to new cultures and environments and to kind of fit your social life to your academic schedule. And I know how hard it is, so my main key is communication, and I feel that I just need to make myself if I win, I'm going to make myself more approachable so that people can communicate to me, because that is the very, very hard thing to do. It's really hard to make international students talk. They find it very hard, because I know obviously everyone finds it hard to admit they need help, so I just want to make myself an approachable person to make people come to me for problems they face.
Ashada?
I'm an international student as well. Been here for 4 years. I came here, when I came over here, I felt a bit lonely because that's not a point that UCLan provided me really support, but I really feel I know what are the problems of the international students, and I've been there. Now I'm on the other side. I worked as an international student buddy, so I tried to support the students after coming over here and getting used to the culture shock academics. But I still feel the change has been made, but there are few points which can be improved. So I believe in the improvement of the change. And I have several ideas which can be implied and can help to enhance the experience of international students. And I really believe that I can do that. And I would like to tell you that I recently passed my PhD. So right now I'm 100% available for everyone, so everyone can come to me, and if they have any problem, then I'll be there for them to solve the problems. It's not about just me. I believe that we as an international student and home student together can enhance the experience of everyone, not just international students. That's why I think everyone should vote for me.
Okay, that's a mouthful. Okay, we're now going to throw it to the audience. Which particular questions have you got for either candidates for either position? Okay, go ahead.
Since you didn't let me ask a question before, Matt.
I had to keep it timed, don't I?
Well,
go on.
Obviously I'm an international student, European student, and one of the things that I struggle with a lot is money, because we don't actually get loans or grants or anything from student finance. Is it in your plans to work on some kind of grant or loan that students could get from the university to help them out with that?
Can I go ahead?
Yeah.
Of course, you must have heard education officers are working hard for that, and we'll be looking into that. But at first, that's the question which rises after you come over here. What I'll be looking into the priorities is what happens before you come over here, because I believe that people, when they come over here, they have problems related to the culture shock, and it's really difficult for them to adjust between the academic life and the culture over here. So I really believe that they should have a pre-arrival workshop which can help them, not them, I was on the same place, so yeah. Help us as a students to know about the place and also to learn more about the loan system. I do believe that in UK we are not provided the loans, or in fact I did my biomedical science. When I came over here, I was promised that there will be given a sandwich course in which I'll get chance to work with NHS, but it wasn't provided. After coming over here, I got to know that it is only for the home students. So there's a gap, and we'll try and I'll be trying to fill in the gap.
Can I hurry along just to pass it along? No, finish up what you were saying.
Sorry.
Finish your sentence and go. Right.
Oh yeah, I'm done. Sorry. Go ahead.
To be honest, I haven't thought about grants or loans because I don't feel like the UK would be able to do that. But one of my plans is that I've spoken to so many international students, and they always say, because most of them, they fund themselves and they have to work and study at the same time, and then they, like the one I spoke to, she pays in 3 installments, and she told me that she's always given just 1 week of every 3 months that she has, like just the first week of March. Let's say you have to pay before the first week of March ends, and I am willing to help with to work with the financial office and to make sure international students are given more time to pay, because I know how hard it must be to be able to work and study at the same time.
For me, I think it's more about, I can like give your concerns and stuff to like student finance and things like that. But personally, I don't think I could really change that kind of policy. But I could like give your ideas and like any concerns that you have and give them on to student finance and see like what they want to do with that. But yeah, I think pretty much that's it.
Well, yeah, it's a great question, and I think one of the things that I want to work on is to create a environment and ethics campaign team. It is an ethical issue. It's about, is it right that someone from somewhere else should be paying a lot more to come to university over here? And I think that's something that if I got elected, then if I created this campaigns group, that we could really try and campaign to try and get this issue sorted at NUS level, trying to get a policy passed through them to try and change how we finance international students.
Well, yeah, I've been looking at studying abroad in another country once I've finished this course, and I've realised that it is a lot of money and you do have to fund a lot of it yourself. And there should be some finance somewhere. So I'd look into, could the university provide that? Or could NUS obviously help with providing that? It can be motioned through council and it can get looked into and researched, and then if there is an availability to have that, we'd look at trying to get it.
Okay, we've unfortunately again not got enough time for any more questions, but thank you to everyone that's come along today, and thanks for, okay, yes. Okay, yes, okay. Which candidate? Priscilla Sarmento has got a statement that she'd like to be read out on her behalf.
Okay, apologies. My name is Priscilla Sarmento, a second-year fashion brand, promotion and journalism student running for the position of international rep. If elected, I want to help international students feel like a part of the union by supporting them upon arrival, before and during Freshers' Week. Work to bridge the gap between home and international students. Do 6 continental events each month dedicated to a different continent, leading up to a cross-cultural show at the end of the year. Work together with the International Office and Solace to create more opportunities and to support visa and accommodation issues. To do weekly support drop-in sessions, to involve international students in Green Ladder events and improve their volunteering chances, and to represent the interests of students at all levels, both nationally and internationally, to build a unified and diverse UCLan.
Okay, thank you very much. Just to remind you of the candidates running for these 2 positions, we've got for Environment Rep, we've got Naomi McClellan-Edwards and Samuel Johnson, and reopen nominations. For International Rep, we've got Zainab Bashir Al-Rafai, Abdul Hamid Inusa, Harshada Patil, Shafak Mansood, Priscilla Sarmento, and reopen nominations. A round of applause for both those sides. Okay, can I now ask that the candidates for Campaigns Officer make their way to the stage? Okay. Right. So just to remind you of the candidates running for this position, we've got Abby Law, Lucy Hay and Rochelle Cohen, and reopen nominations. Haig. It's not like I've been working for a year. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So thank you to you three candidates for coming along today. Firstly, I want to ask to the two candidates that are running for this position that aren't running again, what can you bring? What would you be able to bring to the position? Why do you think there should be a new person in this position? To both of you.
Hello.
That's how a microphone works. Yeah. You speak into it. Go ahead.
Well, essentially campaigns is about welfare, and I just think I've got quite a strong background within that. I've come from a social work background. I know what it's about to empower people and give people a voice and make sure that I do what's best for them and not for myself. So I think what I can bring essentially is, you know, also I'm on Students' Council and I'm currently doing work on student carers, and I did that off my own back. You know, I'm not a student carer, so I think I'm happy to go above and beyond just to support people, and I think that, yeah, that's what I can bring.
Okay. Abby?
Well, as to the whole why should there be a new person, Lucy's done a fab job. So, yeah, it'd be great to continue with her, but there's also the thing of getting fresh ideas if either me or Rochelle got in. As to why I should be doing it, I'm a massive passion for helping students who don't tend to have a voice. So you mature students, because I'm 23, this is my second time at uni. Sometimes you can feel a bit out of it. Your commuters, because a lot of the people on my course are commuters and feel that they think the SU doesn't do anything for them. And then you have like caregivers and stuff. So I want to help them, and also people with disabilities and mental health. I think I can represent them because I have them myself. So it's from personal view and from my friends and people I've talked to on my course and stuff.
Okay. Why should you be re-elected, Lucy?
For continuity purposes and consistency. I've worked on a lot of projects this year that won't be finished within a year, and will be running over next year, and I think it's great to have the same person kind of working on them. I do try and get out there and speak to students as much as possible on the projects and campaigns that I'm working on. So it's not just me, it's the kind of voice of the students that I'm looking to when putting their points forward. Also as well, I've got the experience. I've kind of had a year doing it, so I think that puts me in great stead to really work on things next year. I know the staff members that I need to work to, I know exactly where I need to go when I've got issues, and I can solve things pretty quickly. I don't have to find my feet, so I think that puts me in a kind of a good position to really work on things next year and put things into place quickly and effectively.
Okay. Right, it's given enough. Thank you for your answers. Okay, we're going to throw it to the audience now to see what everyone else has to say. Firstly, can you have a question from Lee?
Hi everyone. How can you ensure that the biggest things on campus for student welfare now are going to get looked at? So, like housing, for example, what are you going to be doing for students in not just UCLan owned halls, but private halls, private rented accommodation at the same time? How are you going to develop that system that we already have?
Okay, we'll start with Abby. Yeah.
Sorry, completely another planet then. To answer your question, I'd love to develop Lucy's idea for the housing fair even more so, because everyone I spoke to who's first year and stuff found that absolutely brilliant and thought it was the biggest help in the world. So I want to develop that, people know about it earlier, so that a lot of people think, oh, you've got to rush into housing, and it's like you don't. Think about it, get to know the people, because I know for a fact if I'd have moved in with some of my flatmates last year or the year before, again, that would have been a bit of a problem. I mean, I'm having a problem with one of my flatmates from last year who I did move in with, but we decided very early on, whereas if we'd have waited a while, maybe we wouldn't have had that problem.
Okay, Lucy?
I agree. I think the housing fair needs to be made bigger and better. I'd like to get more utility companies in so that we're branching out to mature students or students that might live with their parents at home, such as Virgin, gas and electric companies as well. I would also like to have more information in regards to mortgage arrears for students that are struggling with debt and things like that in regards to mortgages. I want to enhance the Stop Wait Look campaign, which we put in place quite late this year. I'd like to get it and work with the accommodation office to put that in place to make sure students are doing exactly that when it comes to looking for housing. We have a lot of students, too many students that are signing contracts too early, and we even have international students that will be signing multiple contracts and then they can't get out of it. So I'd like to work with the international office on that issue as well. Also, I'd like to advertise properties that are on an accreditation scheme, so I'm working very heavily to put this in place at the moment. Unfortunately, it won't be starting until July, but it'll be a ranking system in regards to the accreditation scheme, so that we have as many landlords and letting agents within Preston on a bronze, silver, gold scheme, so that we can improve the quality of housing for students and hopefully advertise them down in the Ops Centre as well.
Okay. Rochelle.
Well, I think a lot of the issues to do with housing is that nobody really knows who to go to when there's issues or anything like that. And I know at the moment we have a landlord forum, so I'd like to create a tenants forum to make sure that tenants can actually come in, know where to go, and are telling us what the issues are and how we can improve them, but also making sure that people know where to go who aren't 18-year-old students who live on campus with no added responsibilities, making sure that we're getting the voices of the people who say are in a couple or are mature students or have children, and making sure that they know where to go to, because I don't think that student housing caters for their needs, and when they come to a new place to study, it's not very easy for somebody to find a student house because of all the other complications come along with it. So yeah, I just want to make sure that I carry on building obviously on this year, making sure that people are waiting and aren't signing contracts in October time, which a lot of people seem to do, and I know I did. Yeah.
Okay. Got another question from the audience? Emily at the back. Emily, there.
Hi there. So this year, a lot of the campaigns surrounding faith have been student-led and not SU-led. What are you guys going to do for faith on campus?
All three of you. Start with Rochelle. Sorry, yeah.
Well, at the moment, I do understand what's going on in terms of the quiet rooms and the multi-faith centre and getting that built up. And so I think for me, it's just continuing with work and ensuring that we are making sure the university are putting adequate things in place for students of faith, such as making sure that there's enough quiet rooms around the whole campus, and other campuses, part of UCLan, have the quiet rooms, and so people know where to go, but also making sure that it's high on the agenda for the university in the creation of a multi-faith centre. So for me, it's just making sure that I'm working with students and making sure that it's a top priority for the university.
Okay. Abby?
In my thing, actually on the same subject, I was talking to the chaplain the other day about this sort of thing, and the fact that a lot of people of other faiths don't realise they can use the multi-faith centre. It's called the multi-faith centre. That means multiple faiths, therefore anyone can use it. But he also said people of non-faiths can use it. So like me, I go meditation. I'm not religious in the slightest, but I need a space to meditate. I didn't realise I could use the multi-faith centre. So I want to sort of promote that and promote it, so working in conjunction with, say, ISOC and the Christian Union and stuff, to promote events for them and help with do things that they want to do, so it's led by the people of faith, because I don't have a faith. I can't claim to know everything needed for a faith. So I would talk to them to try and sort it out, because they're the ones with the faith. They know what they need.
Okay.
This year, I'd say I've been working on the work that Lee did 2 years ago when he was campaigns officer, and I've worked very closely with Sana as she's been pioneering the movement with the master plan and making sure that the MFC is incorporated into that. We've pushed very heavily because it obviously wasn't in the original plan that came out a couple of months ago, and we got onto Michael Ahern about that and kind of have pushed him for that. Also with the quiet rooms and the wellbeing centre as well, I've been working very closely to make sure that we've got spaces for students to go if they do need to meditate, if they need time to chill out, but it's not an area where students will study or eat. It is for students that need to take time for themselves back. So I've been working as heavily as possible to kind of make this happen with both SANA and SAS, which is student wellbeing. So yeah.
Okay. We've got time for one more question from the audience. Okay, down here.
Hi there, I just wanted to know if any of you've talked a lot about housing today, and I wondered if any of you are going to do anything to make summer accommodation more accessible for students who maybe have difficult circumstances at home or maybe even homeless. Is there anything that you're all planning to put in place for that?
I think we held our first landlord forum back in January, and that was a way of us discussing issues that students have brought to us and common themes that have been reported to the accommodation office and the advice and rep centre. And it's a way of also landlords telling us the problems that they've got. I think what the idea would be is to work with students that have problems and need somewhere to live over summer, to make sure that we can work together to put that in place. Something that's come back big is summer retainers and things like that, and that's something that I'd like to work on as well, to make that students can easily have accessibility and not paying over the moon to live in accommodation over summer. Yeah,
my point was going to be about having looked into it before, summer accommodation is rather expensive. I actually stayed over summer last year, and it did cost an arm and a leg. So yeah.
Okay.
Get it into my mouth so you can actually hear me. Yeah, I think it's a good thing about the summer thing, because not only is there people with like troubles at home or are homeless or whatever, but there's also students who do like summer internships through the university. They've got to find places to live over the summer as well, and it doesn't seem that the university gives them much help in this. So you ever have to pay over the odds to stay in your actual house you've got for the next year, or get a small short contract for over summer, when, well, we've got the halls. What do they do during the summer? I mean, there are events and stuff that they use to rent them out, but not all of them with the amount we've got. So couldn't the university, we could work with the university to do like a scheme that'll let them pay just the normal rates that they pay during the year.
Okay, Michelle?
Yeah, well, I think it's an interesting point. I mean, I had to stay here over this summer, and it wasn't easy, and I had to have just disputes with my own landlord over the amount it costs as well. But I do think that's what the landlord forums are from, and just ensuring that landlords are kind of aware, and that we're working with them to make sure that they have adequate things in place for the summer, and there are landlords that will fill that for us. And obviously with the summer retainer, I think that is something that we really need to look into, and just
Okay. I'd like to thank our candidates that are running for this position. I'll rename them again. It's Abby Law, Lucy Hay, and Rochelle Cohen. Thank you very much. And it's Ed Haig that time, yeah. Cool. Okay. Can the candidates for Open Council please make their way to the stage? Okay, I'm now going to read out the candidates that are running. There's a lot of candidates running for this role as well. We've got... Hello, everyone. Can we have a bit of quiet? Is that okay? Everyone who's not on stage and not me, just kind of listen? Cool? Yeah. Okay. The candidates running for open rep are as follows: Aisha Shan, Asil Sheikh, Debbie O'Connor, Emily Peake, Eric Sutton, Leah Bradford Mahira Hussain, Rashan Kamal, Chantel Harvey, and Yusuf Bika. Oh, I didn't grow up in Saudi Arabia. It's alright, it's cool. It's a new... No, I know, but I don't need to read foreign names. I'm really bad at it. Sorry. Right, okay. So, I'm going to start with asking you to say your name and... Okay. Yeah, we've got a statement from candidate. I'll ask you first to read the names of the candidates that are on stage. Okay? From this side? Yeah, your name and obviously you're running for open. Who are you?
I'm Emily and I'm running for Open Council.
Okay.
I'm Debbie and I'm running for Open Council.
I'm Roshan and I'm running for Open Council.
I'm Yusuf and I'm running for Open Council.
Okay. We also have a statement from another candidate, Leah, which is going to be read by Gareth.
Okay, statement from Leah Bradford Thom. To begin, I am very sorry that I could not make it tonight. I have had my plans sorted since before Christmas and it is not something that can be changed. At the moment, I have two big aims for my time in the council next year should I become elected. It seems to become apparent that more publicity is needed for the council's aims and achievements. Not only should students have a clearer idea of what it is planning to put in place, but also why. Also, from speaking to friends from several courses, there appears to be a major issue with feedback for coursework. Complaints I have heard include a lack of detail or clarity in the comments received and feedback being sent past its deadline. I would like to put together a fairer feedback system that could be implemented across the university.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, first question for candidates. Why do you choose to run for Open Council? I'll start with Yusuf at the end.
I've chosen to run for Open Council because I've seen that there's not a faith rep on the council at the moment, and I want to be the voice of faith, especially on campus. This year we've had a lot of groundwork in the MFC, the quiet spaces for prayers and halal food, and I want to build upon the very good foundations that have already been laid. Also, I want to extend further to look at recognition for other religious holidays. Just this week I was speaking to a classmate of mine. She follows the Sikh faith, and she was kind of upset because the last week there was a Sikh festival she couldn't attend and she couldn't worship as she would like to worship, and that was simply because her festival wasn't recognized on campus, and she felt that had there been more support from lecturers and the union, she could have worshipped or celebrated in the manner that she would have liked to. And I think there are many more issues such as this that need to be raised and put through council so we can work together and have a better atmosphere for faith on campus.
Okay, go ahead.
I'd like to run for Open Council because obviously as a student we're paying 9k, so I want to ensure that students are receiving the best value for money from the Students' Union and the university, and also from... sorry, can I go last? Is that okay?
Okay, no, go on, take your time, take your time.
Okay.
Deep breath.
Okay, we'll come back to you. Go on, Debbie.
I want to run for Open Council. As you can guess, I'm a mature student, a very mature one. I don't think there's enough representation for like myself. I've worked with Stevie in the past with education. I've worked with Lucy. There's a lot of things going on campus that more mature students need to get involved in. We need a voice on the council. It's all right having a vote and say, oh yeah, I'm going to vote for you. If you want your voice on the council, then you need to vote. You need to have somebody who will be there for you. I want to be that voice.
Okay. Emily?
I'm standing for re-election onto council, however in a different position. I've enjoyed my time as women's rep, however I'd like to progress from just representing women students to representing all students, and I'm looking to represent the general population of students. I want to continue the work I've done with that and to start making sure we publicise the council a lot more.
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
So, obviously, carrying on, I want to achieve and promote a more equal and accessible environment for students with regards to their gender and race, and by working closely with the international and BME reps, so obviously students can enjoy an amazing experience at UCLan, regardless of their background. Also, I want to encourage different clubs and societies to work in conjunction with each other so they can promote a more inclusive and diverse environment on campus. And also, I want to continue the amazing work that's been done of securing adequate prayer facilities for students of all faiths across the campus. And I obviously want to work closely with the course reps and school presidents so that they, obviously if there's any necessary changes and actions that are needed to take place, that they are done. And also, with experience and with talking to other people on my course, I understand that lecturers from and staff, they don't understand about like students with disabilities, so obviously I want to make sure that their needs are accommodated for.
Okay. All right. I'm now going to throw it to the audience. Does anyone have a question to ask these particular candidates? None whatsoever? Okay. Hannah, go ahead.
You've all mentioned that you're just like specific groups of people that you want to help represent, but what are you going to do for the other 32,000 students as well? Because Open Council, you represent all, and it's great that you represent individual students, but how are you going to reach out to all the other ones as well?
Good question, go ahead.
I want to encourage dialogue between both faith and non-faith members of UCLan, and that way getting a discussion going between both sides, so people with faith and without faith, and look at areas where we can help them find their comfort zones on campus to help with their education. One of my ideas was to look at a week based on the theme of right to education, in the sense that what things other than the actual lectures that we get in our lecture theatres and classes, what other things other than that can we implement in on campus that can aid education or attainment? And similarly, as students on this campus, how we can look at students across the world, or students in other countries, or people in other countries that want to attain an education, how we can help raise awareness for that as well.
Okay.
Obviously, obviously I would actively listen to everyone's needs and not just the ones that I've mentioned. And through regular monthly communications, I'd let everyone know that I'm up, and obviously I'd make sure their voices are heard, and obviously feedback is a major thing that I believe in.
Okay. Debbie?
I think it's important to get a lot of other people involved. It's from 21 till when you want to finish education. It's a big learning curve. Being older, you don't fit in as well. You're coming from work, but it's also from a younger end. There's perspective there as well. You have to meet in the middle. There needs to be more participation with everything. It's just generally been open. If you don't get out there and make yourself known, if you don't make the council known, education known, then people aren't going to know. You have to be aware and they have to be interested, so it's getting them engaged in what you want to do.
Okay, Emily?
I am looking to represent the general population of students, and will be doing so regardless of whether or not I'm elected onto council. The only thing different between a general student and a student on council is actually the vote that they get during the motions and the bylaw changes. So regardless of whether I'm elected, I'm going to be attending the meetings and asking students' opinions.
Okay, I'm going to have another question from the audience. Okay, a point to make from Gareth, go on. Okay. Okay, sure, come on to the stage. Okay. Grand entrance. Okay, sure. Can you say your name and obviously running for Open Council, just for the audience?
So my name is Iṛsᴛᴛᴇʀ and I'm here to represent students.
Okay.
And I want to get the majority of students. I don't want to focus myself on one focus group. So I've looked into international students and I've realised that there's so many international students.
I just wanted your name really, but it's okay.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Did you hear the question as well? Okay, go ahead,
Yeah,
answer the question.
sorry.
I didn't know you were here for the question, go ahead.
No, it's fine.
I'm not on a chair. Go on.
Do you want to carry on then?
Go on.
Or do you
No,
want to
it's
carry
okay, you can carry on.
Okay, where was I?
Start again.
Representing students. I've realised that international students are not involved in the majority of things, and I've heard so many complaints of saying, well, we're not involved, the student union doesn't even know us. So if we get the student union actually not just in the union, we can get them outside and then promoting the student union in a better way. I think that would be focused on groups, and we'll have, I'm thinking of having like a focus groups for students to come in to say what they want changed, and then I can work on from that to producing something so much better for the students to support them. Anyway, yeah, thanks.
Okay, we've got time for one more question. We'll have that question at the back there.
Thank you. Is there anything that you would change about the way that council is run at the moment, and if so, what is it?
Good question. Right, we'll start from Cecile and work our way to that way. We'll start with you. Microphone.
Me. Okay. I don't know. Like, what kind of change were you looking for?
The way that motions are voted for, the way that motions are brought up, for example, the way that motions can be stopped, or like, for example, the YBD referendum, the fact that it's been stopped early, or it's been trying to propose to be stopped early, things like that. Is there anything that you would change to make the council run better, the way that motions are passed better?
Well, I feel like the actual group of the council are all involved in the SU, let's say. So I feel like they're not even going out there, they're not even trying their best to get students to get involved. And it's more based in the student union. So if we can get it outside the student union, there's courses that people don't even know what the student union is. So the way the council's been running at the moment, it's not promoting that help for students.
Okay. Emily?
I think it'd be quite good just to get down and just debate the motions fairly, and just look at them from a point of view that what is this motion going to do to improve students' lives, and what is it going to do to hinder another group of students' lives. And if it's not going to hinder another group of students' lives, we should just accept that, move on to the next motion. But at the moment we spend hours deliberating one motion which is only going to affect one group of students, and we just go around in circles really. So I think we should move faster on motions and go on, and I'm going in circles.
Okay, Debbie?
I agree with what's been said. We need to make the Students' Union Council more aware. We need to get out there, be seen a lot more, pass motions rather quickly, see what can be done. There is a majority of students out there that don't want to know. For those that don't want to know, they're not getting involved, and they need to be involved to make this work.
Okay.
I think promoting it definitely, because half them, not many people know about Students' Union. Like, luckily, I knew about it, but I know from majority of the course they don't know about it. So I think it's going out there, promoting and listening to people and getting monthly feedback on what they'd like change. Let them know about all this. Yeah.
Okay. Yusuf?
I think promotion is a big issue with the union, with a lot of the facilities on campus. I mean, I've had talks with a lot of people with this issue of marketing and a promotion of a lot of the events, a lot of the things that go on. So that's one issue that needs tackling. But at the same time, having been to a council meeting, I would like a change in the way it was set out. I would prefer a more round table sort of an approach, so everyone's facing each other. It's more encouraging, more engaging. Similarly, I'd like it in a setting where it's more open for anyone to come and attend, rather than a classroom where someone would feel like what's going on in there. I think maybe I should just walk past, should be more inviting, maybe even in the atrium, maybe like it has been in the past, or choose different areas of campus each time a meeting is, or a council meeting is set, so encouraging more students from different areas of the campus to engage. I think engagement needs to be tackled properly and with good strategies in place.
Okay, thanks, Yusuf. We'll now end it there, but thanks very much for all the candidates that come along today and all the candidates standing for this position. I'll just remind you the candidates standing for this. We've got Aisha Shan, Asil Sheikh, Debbie O'Connor, Emily Peake, Eric Sutton, Leah Bradford-Thorn, Mahira Hussain, Roshan Kamal, Shaltel Harvey, and Yusuf Bika. Cool, there we go. Bakira, yeah. Okay, thanks very much, everyone. Cheers. Okay. Can we now have the ever-coveted candidates for the maybe president role? Do you not want it? Oh. Can you sit either in the middle or there? Whoa. Okay. Right. What's that? Right. Just to remind you the candidates running for this position. We have Joshua Ekoyo, Josie Linsell, Rob Micklethwaite, Stevie Seymour, and if my ears are still intact, reopen nominations, right? Okay. Okay. Right. First question. Why are you running for this role? We'll start with you, Joshua, and work your way that way.
Hi. Yeah, just like he said, I'm Joshua Ekoyo. I'm running for the post of SU president. Among other things, to work with the top management of the university to make life better for students on campus. And one of the things I look out to do is to liaise with them and work with the other elected officers to ensure that the management considers reducing the hostel fees of our students to a certain percentage that could assist make life better for students. I also understand from the angle of the international students that the school fee, the tuition fee are also on a high side, and I believe that I'm going to work with them constructively, make policies that could create the opportunity of considering reducing the tuition fee. I also believe that I'm going to work with my fellow elected officers to ensure that students of UCLan participate more on the SU events. I'm going to look at things like debates and sports competitions, not just within the university, but we're going to have inter-university competitions in debate and sports that will bring the skills of our students to an international recognitions. And we're going to also participate in outings like conferences and seminars that will take students out of Preston, out of UK, to have experience of other countries. That is part of being in the university. It's not just to come and study and then end up within the environment. We're going to have experience of other environment, traveling to other places of the world, and make a difference and bring UCLan to a point of international recognitions. Before I came to UCLan,
okay, Josh, I'm going to have to hand it on to the other candidate, unfortunately, but we'll come back to you with other questions. Go ahead. Okay, Steve.
Okay. Okay, so why am I running for president? I think most candidates ask themselves that a million times a day when they're in this period of chaos. I think the biggest thing for me is that as a team, and Josie being part of that team, and Lucy and Lee, this year we have worked incredibly hard. I think that goes for council. Well, Matt, you were the chair. I was trying to keep you impartial, but okay, yeah, even Matt. No, I think it's a team of 5, and as a council. Now, what happens normally in these processes is that weaknesses are pointed out, and that's great, and we always think that change is an amazing thing, but there's been so much good work this year, and it's just a shame that not all students are aware of it. And I think that the reason I want to run for president is that the union does incredibly well at the things it does. Yes, we can talk about resource, and we can talk about staff, and we can talk about officers, and we can talk about involvement, but if you look at what we do for what we have, we do incredibly well, and we need to do more of it. And I think that the biggest way to do more of it is to get more people involved. Like, you've heard so many candidates say about why they got involved, but you've got people that don't get involved, and we need to know why. The union is more than this space that you're in. The union is you, the union is me, and the union is the people that lead it. And at the end of the day, that doesn't matter if you're at Burnley, you're at Myerscough, or you're at another part of this campus. You need to be heard, and I think it's about importance is going out and finding that voice, that opinion, that even that student that says, I don't want to be involved, I just want a pint. That is perfectly fine, and we need to listen to you just as much, but the reason I'm running is that we need to do more.
Okay. Rob?
Good evening, everyone. The reason why I'm running for this role is I want to, in a sense, further develop the student union around the university and try and kind of unify and integrate all types of students and give them equal representation and facilities which can assist their university lifestyle. I also want to, as kind of Stevie briefly mentioned, is to take the union out of this building and actually get into communications with students personally up front with them and actually bring things to them and then get them involved and actually give them the knowledge of how they can come into the SU and how they can develop it and expand it. And obviously, sorry, over the next few years, we like things like the master plan to further develop it over a long period of time, not just short things that can have an effect for a few months, but actually implement things which can have reap benefits years and years to come into the future. So yeah.
Okay. Josie?
Hello. So the reason I'm running for president is because I've been the activities and participation officer for the year, of course. And I feel like actually I've got similar points to everyone else, so that's kind of good, means we're on track. I agree that we do things within the union quite a lot. We continually develop and work on the things we've got in the union, which is really good, but I think that actually now we need to start branching out and work out how we can actually affect the economy and the environment, and how we can actually go out into pressing in the community and how we can make things better. I mean, campaigns talking about things like housing, I think we need to have more impact on that. I mean, the big thing at the moment is YBD debate. So I think another thing that we've been talking about, like Emily Peake said, as Women's Rep this time, she's been working on a nightclub motion. So it's that kind of thing we should be going out and talking about how we're going to improve the community that our students live in and how we can improve how they live and their student experience that way, not just the way that they come into this building like we've been saying.
Okay. One more question, then we'll throw it to the audience. How do you plan on developing the SU's relationship with the university? I'll start at this side with Josie and work away this way.
No time to breathe, that's fine. Sorry, how are we going to improve the relationship with the university? That's cool. So, this is obviously a big time of change. We've had a new Vice-Chancellor, which has made a huge difference. So last year doors were opened, this year loads of doors are swung open, and next year I plan to kick a lot more doors open. There have been some doors that have been open to certain people, so people like President, people like Stevie this year as Education Officer have had a lot of opportunity to get out there, whereas roles like mine as APO, I've been kind of stuck in the office, kind of like, can I speak to you? Do I know anyone else? No, okay. So I've been really restricted actually in the change I could have made. So what I want to do is open the doors to those other SAC roles, and by doing that we need to be knitted together more as well. So there are things like Lucy this year as campaigns has done things on, we tried to do things on maybe sport, so we do #SayNo, which would go into sport and societies committees as well as into course reps, but I think actually we need to be working more together in order to make those more powerful and actually make change for students. So that's one way in doing it, but there's also something that I'm obviously passionate about, which is activities, so sport and societies, and I should probably say that I suspect that the university is looking into our provision of sport and societies, and I know for a fact that I'm the person to go out and get the funding that they may be willing to throw at us.
Rob? Okay, how to increase the relationship with the university. Obviously, constant communication, that's a kind of given. One thing that I want to kind of point out is we have all these amazing societies and sports within the student union, and slowly but surely now, as an example of Japan Day in February, there actually was a collaboration with an SU society and the university kind of department where we got funding and we were able to work together and actually create an incredible event which brought awareness to like a culture and a language. So things like that is really getting kind of not just the university as a whole, but the individual schools involved with things that they've got connected with in the SU and kind of pushing from both sides, and then having like amazing events like we had, and just really kind of just constantly working with them and getting them involved with the students, and generic answer, but thank you.
Okay. Stevie?
One of the conversations I've already had this year with the university is about why the president and the education officer has to be the ones that go to all these committees. Now, that's not because of all the work that we have to do to go to these committees. That's more about that we have an array of different people with different opinions, and at the end of the day, the university appreciates that, and it's not about a relationship, it's about a partnership. It's an equal footing. Students and the university work together to make good change. So what we need to do is put students at the heart of that change. There is no point in one officer like myself being on every single board that Lee's had to be on this year, when actually students need to be as part of that as anybody else. Because at the end of the day, yes, I think I'm a fantastic person, right? Yeah, and everything else. And I think that I know what students want, and I go out and I listen to what students want on a regular basis, and I go to as many events as I can, and I just can't hear everybody. But students come up with so many different dynamic and innovative ideas, and that is one of our objectives as a union, to change and to listen to innovative ideas. So we need to put students more at the centre, and I think when it comes to a relationship, the university wants it just as much as we do. It's about improving it and putting our foot in the door and saying, students want it, let's give it to them.
Okay, that's it.
Talking about maintaining relationship between the SU, that is student union, and the university management, it is important that both parties understand their positions. There wouldn't be university management without the students. They have to understand that, and we also have to understand that there wouldn't be us here without the university management. So what it means is that we've got rules to play, and each party have got to respect those rules. As much as we, the students, keep to the rules and regulations of the university management, they are also there to provide us all we need to become the best that we could be on campus. So it is all about this mutual understanding, this hand washing this hand and the other hand washing the other hands. And it depends on the leaders, not just me as a president. It calls on all of us as the elected officers to work in collaborations, to lead our students the right path, to take our students the path of obedience, to take our students to stand on their ground, to demand what they want, following the rules and the regulations each time. That comes to play. So as long as the students keeps to the rules and regulations, I believe the management will also follow suit, and will also be there for us to succeed in our academics. Thank you.
Right, I'll now throw to the floor for anyone who's got a question. Who's got the hand up? I don't know. Is it that guy off to Australia? That's the one, yeah, that guy. Cool. Can we go ahead? Right.
It's not a bitchy question, don't worry. One of the biggest criticisms that I faced this year is about time management, about how can I handle this and this, because the diary of a president is jam-packed back to back. How are you, everything that you just said then, how are you going to ensure that you can do all that whilst also managing the time and also feeding back and going out to students and listening? Cheers.
Okay, we'll start with Joshua again.
Yeah, in response to that question, I think this is a call to duty. I've decided to sacrifice myself, my best, my time to serve the students. So I believe that understanding the fact that we are out to make life better for students will help us to be out for it, you know, to put in our best and do all we can to ensure that outside carrying our responsibilities or carrying my responsibility as a SU president, I would also, you know, do my best in terms of bringing innovations, in terms of bringing ideas, in terms of looking into what is happening at other universities and then bringing it into implementation and policy making here in UCLan to achieve one purpose, and that purpose is to make life better for all our UCLan students. Thank you.
Okay. Stevie?
I think, as any elected officer will tell you, this is not a 9-to-5 job. This is not a 35-hour job, and I think we can all contest to that. I agree. Being the education officer this year, I have been running to and from buildings. I've had a stack of paperwork to get through, and at times it has been, oh my God, I've got so much to do. But when a student has walked through my door, I've put my pen down and I've said, what do you need? And anybody that has ever done that can contest to that. And I think at the end of the day, it's about making time for the things that you see important. And at the end of the day, as a president, you should see what students see as important. And yes, I appreciate that there are a lot of commitments that the president has to do because of the nature of their role. And I think that you have done an amazing job to keep it all done. And I think that, very well done, yeah, okay. If you had hair, you could whip it. But I just think that it is about time management, and I think I have shown that this year, and I think that I am incredibly good at coming in when I need to and being there when I need to, and that has not stopped me going to student-led events. It has not stopped me going out and listening to students, and it has not stopped me going out and doing the things that I have sat here and said I want to do next year. I think that if you see it as important, it doesn't matter how hard you have to work, you will make time for it.
Rob?
At the end of the day, we are here because of students, and so in that sense, students must come first, and that we should always put their priorities first. In regards to actually time managing everything, I think as a team we need to be on the same page, need to know why we're doing it and what we're doing, and then kind of through there task manage appropriately and effectively. And yeah, obviously having like reminders, everything, being organised, knowing what you're doing, and actually being prepared for what you do. Is vital. I mean, with Japanese society this year, although nowhere near as busy as what Lee's been like, but I've had times where I've been meant to be doing 3 things at one time, and it is understanding and just making sure you know before you do everything what needs to be done, and with your team, working as a team, making sure everyone knows what they're doing, and then through that you can get everything done if you work together.
Josie?
So I think pretty much everything's been said in the matter of we'll go and speak to students, don't worry. But I will say something that that actually my predecessor said to me, that a previous president said to him, which was that you can either be a visible officer that everyone knows and it's great, or you can be the one behind the desk that actually changes policy and gets things done. And I thought, forget that, I'm going to be both. I'm going to be slap bang in the middle. And it is really difficult to do that, and especially as president back to back, it's really difficult. So I think we do need to look at the fact that sometimes you're not visible because you're actually making change, which is actually your job. But it is great to go out into the other events that we've got going on, not just in the building as well, things that happen elsewhere. and get involved. And I think we've all managed to do that, although actually I think the ones that have been current officers this year, whether we're rerunning or not, I think we've all learned actually that there are things that come to your door that you need to just say no to sometimes, because sometimes some things are more important than others, and not just to take on our UCLan thinking that you might be able to fix it, because I couldn't. Whereas it's something that we do need to do. Speaking again back to the, you probably tell me off, back to the university and union relationships, one thing that actually Yusuf mentioned, and I can't see him, standing for Open Council mentioned like a week where we'd talk about things that benefited students outside of the studies. Our UCLan could be that week, but it's a matter of us actually going out and doing that thing. So that's an example of something that I tried to do this year, but I couldn't do. But I think we've all learned that actually you need to make those choices, and those choices are much more easy to make when you've had the first year experience.
Okay. We've got another question from Jake.
My question is, what are the top 3 attributes that a president of a student union should have, and then do you actually have them attributes?
Okay. So what are the 3 attributes that a president should have, and do you have those attributes? We'll start with you, Joshua.
Yeah, that's a nice question. One is experience. 2 is the determination to lead. And 3 is love. Now, yeah. Can I? Yeah, listen.
You can't experience me. Yeah, that's
experience means that a leader must know where he's taking the people he's leading to. You've got to be there before you take people to be there. And I have served as student union president back during my first degree in the university, and I know what it takes to lead the students. I know what it takes to bargain constructively, to argue constructively with the top management, those professors and whatever that never believe you have a best idea. I know what it takes to convince them. And I believe I got enough to convince the management of this university for the good of our students. Now, what it means to love is that nothing works without love. I've got to love my course, and that's why I give it time and sit down to read and pass through it. So I've got to love the students, I've got to love my job, my role as a student, as the SU president, for me to sacrifice other things, put other things behind me and go for it. So it takes love. Now, determination, everything we do in life, there is always challenge. But when we determine to succeed, it shows. I have a book I wrote, I titled The Miracle of 3Ds. And these 3Ds is desire, determination, and decision. So when we determine, we will always succeed on whatever we venture to do. Thank you.
Stevie?
I feel that was a lot more than 3, but it's okay, Joshua. I want to say that that makes a great president. I think there's a combination of a lot more than 3 things. But seeing as you've asked for 3, for me, the first one is leadership. And by leadership, I don't mean somebody that leads. I mean somebody that understands what leadership really means. I think that a leader to one person and a leader to another means completely different. And what a student needs from a president is a different kind of leader. One student might need you to be the person that stands in front of them and is there for them, that advocates their rights and protects them from things that they think they need to be protected from. But other people need their leader to be the person that stood behind them, pushing them and saying, you can do this, you don't need me to do it. So my first is leadership. My second, I think, is tying into that, is passion. I think if you don't have passion for something, you're not going to get it done. If you don't have passion for student rights, what are you doing here? I think if you don't have passion, you are going to fail and you are not going to meet the goals of yourself and other people. And I think the final one has to be, it's a combination of 2 things, but it's communication and diplomacy. I think you have to be able to effectively communicate with anybody, no matter if they be coming from a background where they do not understand English as well as you do, whether they speak in Gajan like Asquak and AQA and everything else, and I think I've had to learn that this year. But I think that the other side to that is about communicating effectively to those people and saying and changing the things that you don't understand yourself and then explaining that to somebody else. I think, yeah, that's my 3.
Rob?
I would say, first of all, the ability to listen and actually approach any situation with an open mind and actually have that communication with the students. And even if you personally agree or disagree, you still need to actually represent the students and what they want to happen, what they think. The second one I'd say is modesty. You're not always going to be 100% correct. You're not always going to succeed, but it's actually knowing that even though that might not be the case, you still need to keep going at it, even though you may have the occasional hiccup. And third is drive. Obviously, you need to have an end goal and be able to have the drive to actually reach it and work towards that end goal. So yeah, thank you.
Joseph?
Again, difficult going last because everyone said everything. But I don't think you actually have 3 things that you need. I think there can be things that can be beneficial, but I think a president can be anything. I mean, look back at Ed. Ed was totally different to Ben. Ben was totally different to Lee. It's completely different. And all of us sat here are completely different to Lee, I'd say. I don't think there's anything that you necessarily need to be a president, but I mean, it's hard to choose 3 that haven't been said. Obviously, leadership's one thing. And I agree that being a different kind of leader for a different person is something as well. And I agree that Rob said about being, I think, more persistent than modest, actually. But I totally agree with that, being persistent. And the one that I've forgotten is... Nah, it's gone. I'll give you 2. But I think that actually there isn't something that you definitely need. I think it's a matter of you can be a different president for a different place. And I mean, the university that Ed Graham Hyde was working with, it's a completely different university that then Ben Latham worked with. And then again, that's been a completely different relationship to what Lee's been working with. And next year will be completely different. So I think actually it doesn't really matter. It's completely different.
Okay, we're going to have to call time on that now, but thank you very much to all the candidates that have come up. And just to remind you of who's running: Joshua Okoye, Josie Linsell, Rob Micklethwaite, Stevie Seymour, and reopen nominations. Okay. Thanks very much. Thank you. Cheers. Okay. Overall, thank you to all candidates that have come along today and all candidates running in the elections overall. Don't forget their school presidents as well. Voting will be next week, Monday at 9 a.m. on the 16th till Friday the 20th at 5 p.m. You can vote on the UCLan SU website. Don't forget to follow the debate that's going on under the hashtag UCLan Elections. Thanks to PSTV for live streaming the event and Pluto for covering it as well, and for LIS and their support as well. Thank you very much. Okay, cheers. No, I think it's taken. Sorry. All candidates, can you...